girlfriends, welcome back to Sienna's Hair World. Today we are going to be doing boho braids, but this time we're going to be doing them a little different. Instead of doing boho braids with my real hair, we're going to do it with weave this time and see how it turns out. Comment down below if you think it's going to come out good.
Alright guys, so as Siani stated, we are going to be doing boho braids in her hair today. Let me show you the hair that we are going to be using. So we are using the Free Tress Braid 301, and this is number 2 to match her hair. We're just going with a simple boho braids, no additional color today. For the curly pieces, I'm using this Free Tress Braid Bohemian Braid 20-inch curly pieces. Let me show you guys what it looks like. So here are the curly pieces that will be added in with the braids for the boho braids. Now, I have never done this with added hair. I've only ever done boho braids on Siani's natural hair. So this is actually going to be my first time doing these. So hopefully it turns out well. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to start separating my hair and put it onto this little, I don't even know what you call it, like a braiding stand. I'm going to separate my hair pieces and the curly pieces, and I'm going to put them here so it's easier for me to grab. Now I'm going based off of my part sizes that I already have in Siani's head, about the thickness of the braid that I'm going to do today, and I'm going to be separating them into 3 pieces. Don't want it too thick because, like I said, 3 pieces is going to be enough for one completed braid. And so the 3 pieces are actually pretty small, but once they all come together, it will be about a medium-sized braid. This is about the thickness of the piece of hair that it's going to be 1 or 3 pieces of these to equal 1 braid. Alright, so I'm going to finish the rest of these off camera, but also let me show you the curly pieces because I'm going to separate these onto this as well. So this is one of the curly pieces. I'm just going to sit those at that end. I'm not sure how many curly pieces I'm going to put on each braid yet. I may put less in the back and more in the front. So this is how I'm going to have everything arranged. I'm going to go ahead and finish putting all of my curly pieces on this side and my straight hair on this side, and I'll come back and show you what it all looks like in just a moment. Alright, so I have all my hair laid out. I have my straight hair on this side and then all of the curly hair on this side. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so as you can see, Siani still has this style in her head. So what this is from the last 2 weeks, she had the crochet locks in her head, and this is how her hair looked underneath of the crochet locks. I had did the brick leg parting, and basically I just braided it down about 1/3 of the way, and then the ends were curly. So what I decided to do, since she wanted another protective style this week, I went ahead and washed her hair just how it is, like this, with the plaits still in it. I conditioned it and oiled it last night to prepare her hair for today, so that way I didn't have to go through and take all the plaits out and repart her hair. I just washed it, conditioned it, and oiled it. So we're going to get started with her hair just like this. I'm still going to go through and take the braid out and detangle it, and then we're going to put the new braid in. So let me go ahead and section it off. I just felt as though this was easier since she wanted another protective style. I didn't feel like redoing all the parts again because parting can take some time. So this is her first row of plaits, and basically I'm just going to spritz it down with some detangler. This is the detangler that I'm using. It's also a leave-in conditioner, Breath of Fresh Hair, the kids collection. So I'm just going to spray and then take this plait out. And I shouldn't have to do that much detangling because I did comb the ends out last night when we washed her hair. So this is what that piece looks like. And I'm just going to brush it out first. And take my detangling brush. Make sure there's no kinks in it. Nice and detangled hair. Alright, so now I'm going to lay her edges, the Shine and Jam Edge Magic. And I just put it right at the base of her head. Grab all those little baby hairs and any little flyaways. Brush that product in good. So we're all smoothed out. I can go ahead and get started with my braid now. So basically, I'm starting my plait just as a normal plait. Take my 3 sections. And I'm just going to start plaiting. I plait down 1 time, and then I go ahead and add my straight hair. 1 piece of my straight hair in. And then I'm going to braid down 2 more times. And add my next piece of hair, piece number 2. And braid down 2 more times. Then I flip my hands around and start my underhanded braid, making sure that all of the natural hair is tucked underneath of the braiding hair. That way when you look at the braid, you do not see any of the natural hair. It just looks like a nice knotless plait. I'm gonna braid it down just a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add the curly piece in. I think that's about good. Now I'm going to add my curly piece of hair. So I'm going to add it in just as I would as I added my other 3 pieces of hair in, and add that right into there just as it was if it was a straight hair. This piece I'm going to flip over and braid down. Now I'm going to braid it down about 2 or 3 times just to make sure that this doesn't slip and fall out. I want to make sure that it's nice and secure. So that's 2 or 3 times down. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull these curly pieces back out because I don't want them going all the way down. Stick those outside of the braids. Now here I still have my regular 3 pieces of hair, and I'm going to continue braiding this down, making sure that I tuck all the natural hair as I'm going down the braid. Alright, so Siani's natural hair stopped right here, and this is how much left of the braiding hair. So I am going to try to braid this pretty much all the way to the ends so it doesn't unravel her natural hair, and then when I go to dip it, I'll know exactly how far I need to go up. As you can see, the curly pieces are a lot longer than the braid. So on my next one, I'm either going to start the curly pieces a little higher, or I may cut the curly pieces at the end. We'll see. Alright, so here is my first braid, or my first boho braid. And actually for the next one, what I'll probably do is take this piece and braid it down a little farther so both of the curly pieces are not starting at the same point. I'll start this one a little higher and then bring this one down a little farther. But I'll still probably need to cut some of the ends off, but we'll make that determination at the end. So let's move right along to our second braid. So again, I'm going to spray the detangler on. Rub that in really good. Take this plait out. Alright, just going to brush this out. Go through 1 time with the detangling brush. Put our edge magic on. So you just want to make sure you have all the right pieces for the right braid so the parts still look nice and even. Brush all of the sides to make sure that product is in good. Alright, and then we are ready to start our next braid. Separate it into 3 pieces. Start my plait. Start adding my pieces of hair in. Here's piece number 1. And add my next piece. And my third and final piece. Now if you want to see exactly how I'm adding these pieces in, if I'm going too fast, check out our other video that we did with the blue tips at the end, and I did some other knotless braids on Siani's hair. So I'm just making sure that everything is smooth so we don't see anything. This looks like one nice flowing braid. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add the curly piece in because I want to start it a little bit higher. Slide that in, braid it down a little. Then I'm going to go ahead and pull the first piece out and then braid it down a little more, making sure everything is tucked. So now I'm making sure that other curly piece is tucked and the natural hair is tucked. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and pull out the second half of that curly piece right there. Flip that to the top and then continue braiding. Like I said, I'm trying to braid pretty much all the way to the ends since her natural hair stopped right there. Alright, so that looks about good. So here is the second braid. I like how this one flows a little bit better than the first one, but it's alright. This is in the very back, so no worries. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys one more, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a few off camera. So I'm adding the detangler spray. Remember, her hair has already been shampooed and conditioned, so her hair is clean. We just did not take out the previous plaits, only to save time on the parting. Just brush through this. Add our Edge Magic. Brush that in. Go ahead and start my plait. My 3 pieces. Add my first piece of hair. Piece number 2. One more piece. Look and make sure everything is nice and smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and add my curly piece. All right, so here is my curly piece. Let's get this added in here. Take out the first part of the curly one. All right, there we go, right there. Push that to the top. Braid down a little further. Make sure everything is nicely tucked. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the next curly piece there and keep on braiding down. Here's our third braid. All right, so this is what our first row is looking like. We have our knotless braids with our boho pieces added, so 3 nice boho braids. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a few rows off camera, and I'll come back and give you an update to show you how it's looking. All right, we got the second row done, and this is what we're looking like so far. It's looking very pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the third row. Unclip it and pull this row down, and clip the rest of these back up. We'll get started right here. Remember, I'm spraying the detangling spray just to make sure that there aren't any additional tangles. But I did pretty much comb it out when I put the conditioner in there last night. All right, so we got that out. Go ahead and brush it. Detangling brush through it. Don't have any additional tangles. That goes through nicely. Add my Shine and Jam edges all around. Brush it in so it's nice and smooth. Start with my 3 pieces, and I'm starting this off same as I would a knotless braid, and then I'll add my curly pieces in for the boho. I add my 1 piece, I braid down 1 time, and I add my next piece of hair in, braid down 1 more time, making sure everything is nice and snug, and then I add my 3rd piece in. Braid down just a few times to make sure everything is nice and smooth, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my curly piece in. I'm leaving one side longer so that I can kind of stagger it throughout the braid. Braid it down about 3 or 4 times, and then I'm taking the longer piece out. Here it is, the longer one. Put that to the side. Braid down some more, about right there, and then go ahead and take the next curly piece out. Put that to the side, and then finish off the braid as you normally would a knotless braid. Making sure everything, all natural hair pieces, stay nicely tucked away. Braid is just about to the ends. Bring the curly pieces back down, and there we have it. A nice smooth boho braid. Alright guys, so I finished the 3rd row. Now, I did make some changes because I was feeling like these first 2 rows, it was looking a little too full for me, like it had too many curly pieces. So what I did on this 3rd row, I only put the curly pieces in every other braid. So as you can see, had the curly piece in this one, and then this one is just a regular braid, and this one has a curly piece, this one's just a regular braid, and this one's a curly piece, regular braid, curly piece. So every other one I am adding the curly pieces in now. So hopefully I will get the look that I'm picturing in my mind once we're all done. But I think that's looking a lot better, because it was almost seeming like there was more curly pieces than there were braids, because there was 2 attached into the bottom ones. But this one looks like it's going to flow a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and move on. Take these down, twist this back up, All right, and I'm going to start on this side. All right, so we're going to start back over here. A little detangler. And again, I'm using the Breath of Fresh Hair Tangling and Conditioning Spray. And plait this. Let me know in the comments, what do you think so far about this boho braid look with the added hair? Let me know what you guys think. Also, what do you think about me washing her hair like this to save time for myself on parting it? Have you guys ever done that? Or what do you think about it? You do that, you have to make sure that you rinse your hair thoroughly to get all of the shampoo and all of the conditioner out, because if you don't, probably build up, your scalp will probably itch, and who knows what other issues may arise. So if you do wash your hair while you have braids in your hair, make sure that all of the product is completely gone. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start my plaits. So this one, I am gonna start this one with the curly piece, and then the next one will just be a regular braid. All right, start adding my hair in. And again, if you go check out the previous style that I did with the blue braids, it'll be an in-depth on how I actually put the added pieces in for the knotless braids. I'm just checking to make sure everything's nice and smooth. Because my next piece, I am adding in my curly piece right here. It is a little bit shorter. I've cut them in half as well, because no point in wasting when I was going to cut the ends at the end of the video anyway. So I just went ahead and cut these in half right now. Once I go down about 3 or 4 times, I feel like it's secure. Then I go ahead and pull my curly piece, put it to the side, and then keep on braiding. I'm going to actually add another piece of hair into this one because it's feeling a little thin. So we'll just add one more piece of hair. Feels a lot better. Remembering to make sure that all of the natural hair is tucked underneath of the braiding hair. And keep going just about to the ends. All right, and there we go. Nice, smooth, knotless at the beginning, and then with our added curly piece. And now, as you can see, my curly piece and the braid are just about at the same length, so I will not have to cut anything off of this curl. All right, guys, I'm just working my way through this next row here. As you can see, we did that first one with the curl, the second one with no curl, third one with the curl, and this one is without the curl. So this one we are going to add the curly piece in. After this row, just have 2 more rows after this. Rest of that, I already cut these in half, so I'm just slightly folding it like this to place it inside of the braid. Now I'm about the middle part of her head, which means that these braids, if I don't add more hair, would be shorter than obviously the very first row that we did. So once I get to the middle and the top, I do add more braiding hair to make all of the braids just about an even length. So now I'm just going to add me another piece of braiding hair in, and I just do it until I feel like it's even with the bottom row. Alright, so there's our next one. So this one right here will just be a regular braid. Make sure it's detangled. Alright, so there is our regular just knotless braid, and we have our boho one next to it. All about the same length now, flowing very, very pretty. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish 2 more on this row, and then I have 2 more rows at the top. I'm gonna go ahead and knock those off, or knock those out off camera, and I'll be back to show you the finished results. Alright guys, I am down to my top row left. just going around, but this is what they are looking like so far. Comment down below and let me know, what do you think about it so far? Does anybody have any tips or tricks that I can do differently to maybe speed my time up or just for a different look? Comment down below and let me know what you guys think. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish this last row right here at the top, and then we'll be all done. All right guys, so I have completed putting the boho braids in Siani's hair. I have a few finishing touches that I need to do. So first thing I'm going to do, let me pull all these to the back first. Just all the braids. The first thing I'm going to do is pull all the curly pieces up into a ponytail so that I can dip the braids. I don't want to dip the curly pieces because these are not human hair and I don't want to mess up the curl pattern. So I'm going to pull all of the curly pieces out. Then I can get all the braids together. Got them all from this side. All right, I got that side. Let me go to this side. All right, I think I have them all. Let's see here. Yep, so let me just grab a scrunchie for this. All right, so those are up out the way. Alright, so I have the hair dipped or prepped to be dipped. All I have is these two plaits right here. I'm going to go ahead and heat the water up and I'll come back and dip these. Alright, so I have the hot water. I'm going to dip the ends of the braids pretty much up to like where the rubber band is at. Make sure they're all saturated down in my cup. Make sure I have the towel close to her head so nothing drips on her head. And then I just squeeze.
Or I get burnt.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do the other plait. Up to where I put the rubber band at. Same thing, I'm going to grab the towel so that nothing drips on her head and start squeezing. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the rubber bands.
Oh, that's hot.
Alright, so now before I pull out the curly pieces, I can see where these need to be trimmed at. Alright, I'm actually going to have her stand up in just a second to make sure that all of these are even back here. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and shine these curly pieces up just a little bit. I'm going to add some mousse to them. I'm just going to kind of grab them like one at a time and rub the mousse down and kind of twirl my finger around. Much like that. So let me start on this side of her head. I'm just going to go around and find all of the curly pieces. Add just a little mousse. Try to keep down on the frizz. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish shining up these curls and grabbing any frizzy pieces. I'll be back in just a moment. Alright, so I'm just looking at final results to see where I need to cut. So I'm just going to trim off these real extra long ones. Alright, so let's see what I need to trim off down here. So I know these ones are pretty long. I think that's about good. Let's see here. Alright, let me just fix her edges and then we'll be all done. Slip these edges down just a little bit. See the other side.
I'm a jam at this party.
Siani's going to a birthday party today, so these edges will probably get sweated out.
And maybe
I'll see by the end of the night.
Maybe, but I might spend a night.
Alright, here you go, girl.
Okay guys, this is my final look. How do you like it? Comment down below if this style was a pass. I love it so much, it looks super pretty. And make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And follow me on all social medias at Siani's Hair World. I really like doing this style today. It did take long, but it turned out really pretty. Bye, Curlfriends!